Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM23 Lions. This is episode 61, and we are ready to begin the 2029 season, our second year in Continental Pro. Now, we made a huge effort last season to play all of the Continental Pro level races, to pick up maximum points, to put us in a position to punch above our weight, to get into races that we would not get in otherwise. At the start of January, it's time to see how that has paid off. First off, let's go a little bit back further to the winner of the Cyanide Trophy. Joao Almeida has won the Rider of this season for last year. Jake Stewart and Godou were the others in the top three. Now, my initial requests to get into all of the one-day Continental Pro Classics and to, as I requested, to get into all of the World Tour races, bar one. La Vuelta was the only one I didn't put a request in for. So, initial request, we will be invited to the following races: Bro Leon, Frankfurt Classic. We got a number. Okay, we got a number that they've said yes to. A lot of no's, a lot more no's than yeses. A year ago, that would have almost been entirely no's. There might have been one or two yeses, and that would have been it. So a decent amount of additional races, which will just help us collect the points, which will make it a lot more possible for us to come out on top of the Continental Pros this year. That's going to be my goal. I hope to do so without having to do every single race along the way. That comes with bigger points. Pick and choose our battles a little bit more this season if possible, but we'll have to keep an eye on those rankings closely and kind of see how much I can afford to skip versus how active I'm going to have to be like last season. Will we have to race as much to get first, or can we back off a little bit and have a slightly shorter season as we continue to build? A lot of that's going to come down to this one, and that is that race invitation bonuses, as in rankings of Continental Pro. Movie Star was number 1. We were number 2, so we should be on this list. Okay. For a second, I didn't think we were on the list. My first glance saw this. You could see what I saw in just a second, just through the description here. I look, asterisk, Movie Star, asterisk, Geico. I was like, what the Movie Star team, comma, MTN. Oh, right. Look down at that bottom left corner. Way over there in that corner. We have moved to a new sponsor. I made a small edit and ended up having to do a second edit to make it work. Database did not like the idea of switching the sponsor's home region to South Africa. I could not get it to save it. It liked Eritrea just fine. MTN is a South African sponsor. It's a mobile communication company in South Africa. It's the biggest company in South Africa, and plenty of you are going to be familiar with the former MTN Quebeca World Tour team. In theory, storyline, MTN comes along, picks up the sponsorship. It's Continental Pro, so they themselves have enough money to fund a Continental Pro team, not necessarily a World Tour team these days, and so they've picked up the sponsorship for us. Now, the jersey, the sponsor that we replaced within the database, MUH or MVH, can almost just about, on a quick glance, obviously not if you look closely, but on a quick glance, the MTN can just about be passable. It's a fit. The intention was to make them South African. That didn't work out. They are Eritrean. We also have a secondary region for Rwanda. Those both were functional. Shouldn't impact anything. Shouldn't change. The outcome is Eritrea and South Africa were pretty level pegging for us. Movistar and MTN have priority on invitations for all races on the World Tour calendar. We're going to get a lot of yeses. We're not going to get full yeses. It will not be 100%. We're not going to go to La Vuelta because I didn't request that one. But we should have minimum 2/3, probably more like 3/4 of the races will end up being a yes. Even though we are lacking reputation. even though we are still one of the bottom teams on paper, right? We were higher up the bubble this year. We're not a total bottom feeder, but we were very much at the bottom end of Continental Pro on paper, and yet we're going to get probably 2/3 to 3/4 of World Tour races on the calendar this year, which means all those additional races we just picked up, I'm going to be able to pick and choose. We're going to have a very busy calendar, though. It's going to be difficult on our team. Towards the end of the season, there's going to be a lot of fatigue. That was one of the key reasons why I said, you know what, let's pass on La Vuelta. By the time you hit August, it's not going to be as big of a deal. But does that mean we're going to be heading to a couple Grand Tours? Giro, the Tour, all 5 monuments, 3 or 4 monuments? That's probably more likely. But we should get both of those Grand Tours that we request, in theory. And with all those extra races, making the top of the list for Continental Pro should be a lot easier. We should be ranked quite a bit higher than last year. And that's good, because we're still not in a state to make World Tour anytime soon. Anytime soon. I mean, maybe we get a little more comfortable Continental Pro this year. The other big goal for the season is going to be winning World Tour races with these low-level riders, low-level nations, that maybe it increases the odds significantly over what we were getting with all those 1 Pro, 2 Pros. And we can start to see some popularity jumps this season. Fingers crossed. But we've crossed off a huge mark on our checklist. Third team, Geico, is invitations for the 1-day races. I thought that might be what I was going to end up with, but we've put ourselves in a position to be second of 3 and get the top prize. Quick note, I did opt out of a couple other races besides La Vuelta, a couple lengthier stage races later in the season where we're going to be suffering from fatigue just a fair bit. So cuts down on the load a little bit. But a lot of the 2 Pro races, I didn't put requests in for those. It's the 1 Pro. It's the 1-day races that are going to come with significant points boosts, but only require us to go out and race a single day. And you can see that we've picked up some of those, and others have already said no. But that's the lack of reputation, and that's the thing. We can't hardly get into a Continental Pro race. We did get some, but it was less than half. We're going to make more than half of the World Tour races, which isn't how that should work, right? The reputation struggles to gain one. If we requested all those World Tour ones and didn't get one of those top 3 places, we'd only get a couple yeses, and that would be it. And then that handful of Continental Pro races. We'd have a slightly expanded schedule from last year and nothing more. That is why I did that heavy focus on picking up all those 2 Pro, 1 Pro races firsthand last season. And yeah, we are reaping the benefits now. Guangxi, Benelux are also ones that I left off. So 5 races in all, but otherwise I have tried to opt in to all of the World Tour races for the year. We're definitely not going to get all, but like I said, we should get anywhere from about 2/3 to 3/4 of them. So 2 players have had evolution of potential for this season. One is new signee Mansour, who drops from a 4.5-star potential to just a 3-star potential. We'll have to check on what his contract length was. He a 1-year guy, a 2-year guy, or a 3-year guy? Generally, I'm doing 1 or 3. But I might have signed 1 2-year this year. The other is a positive. We've had a positive outcome with Tafik Bari going from a 4.5 to a 5, and he was one of those top guys that I was after. So let's check in on Bari and Mansour. Mansour is somebody we signed last year, and it is a 2-year deal, or was a 3-year deal that he was on. He's already into the 2nd year of that, so he's got 1 more year remaining. He doesn't have the potential that he had, but he's still got plenty of potential left. Let's hope he can still develop as a climber decently. It's just looking like he's going to have a little more trouble getting there. It's going to take him a lot longer to get there. Oh, Bari was an interesting candidate. This is suggesting that he's going to level up pretty fast now. Tunisian rider, so he's from one of the smaller nations. I don't think Tunisia was a 1-1. I'm not going to bother checking it right now, but he's got a lot of potential. He's halfway there. High end for puncher, but also time trialing, cobble rating, a little bit of everything. A little sprint, a little bit of climb. He's going to be a very well-rounded rider who his greatest strength is going to be as a puncher. With that little bit of everything, he can serve a purpose for us. And there's going to be the odd race where you need a little bit of everything, where he could take the odd win here and there. And coming from Tunisia, that could work out in his favor. And with the bump in potential, hopefully that means he's going to level up that much faster, get there that much sooner, and be a boost for Tunisia. First wave of whether we got into a World Tour race or not. First wave of emails have come in regarding this. There's 6 of them right here. Let's see how we do. My prediction is we're going to get 4 out of the 6. Paris-Nice, in. LBL, in. Dauphiné, in. TDF, Tour de France, we are in the Tour de France, and 4 for 4 so far. Flèche Wallonne, in. Paris-Roubaix, in. Perfect, 6 for 6. That was unexpected. Oh gosh, that could mean we have an insane schedule, though, this season, try to keep up with. There's going to be a lot of fatigue happening. A lot of guys not at their best for races. Speaking not at their best, the day before we begin, or the day, this just happened today, the day we are beginning our first race of the season, and it's an important stretch for us, we lose an important rider in Sami Arab with a broken collarbone that's going to take him quite a while to recover from. Let me show you why this is going to be an important stretch. With the addition of all these World Tour races, I don't think we're going to have too much trouble getting results that are going to create solid boosts and see us have a good evaluation from the sponsor. It's highly likely that we're going to do really well with this. The results page should be fine. The registered riders is going to be a lot better as we've continued to improve the popularity of Mason Samuels. But our squad eval should be decent as well. What they're looking for with the new sponsor, they're happy with Samuels. They're not happy with the number of riders we have from Eritrea, which is surprising because we have a lot of riders from Eritrea and they're not at all happy. But they are fairly happy with Johannes Dalek, not quite Max. But for the Rwanda part, they're very happy. And Ashimwe, our leading Rwandan rider, is fairly popular. So overall, we have a much better squad evaluation than we've ever had in this series. So that's good. And that registered riders part should be fine. So that's going to be good. And so that it's just going to come down to completing some objectives. Here is where we enter August, so all of our objectives come in this first phase. And outside of one in June and one in late March, everything happens over a 1-month stretch. From the 22nd of January, we're about to start Argentina. It's only 1.5 stars. But the whole sequence, barring the final 2, will take place by then or by the end of the 26th of February. So we have a month and a few days. We have 5 weeks. We have 5 weeks of 9 objectives and then 2 more for the rest of the season. It's an important stretch here at the beginning of the season, and this is the part where I've carefully divvied up the riders, because there are stretches here where we have 1, 2, 3 races overlapping at the same time, and then we have 1, 2, 3 races overlapping at the same time twice in this stretch. It's good that we've added a lot of depth to the team. It's good that outside of one top 3, all of these objectives are top 5s and a couple top 10s at the tail end on the bigger races that we're going to be in. I'm liking our chances of coming out of this fairly well. But those triple objectives at the same time might be a little tricky. Losing Sami Arab right now just made this whole stretch a lot harder, because he's going to be in probably 4 of these races, and then how do we fill that gap? There's not really spare riders sitting around with nothing to do. I'm not even sure why I even bothered to load the stage up, but here I am. Stage number 1, it's a sprint stage, and I don't have sprinters here. Ansa is one of our lead-out guys, so let's see how he can fare. It is a fairly small peloton. There's only 82 riders that came to this race at all. So as we have 8K to go, Benny Messias has done okay to lead us out. Mulebron's going to be a bit faster here. 7K to go. Get a Shimway ready. Ansa's going to have to be led out by Samuels, and Samuels is the obvious choice for the overall. One disappointing thing that has happened here is the simple fact that I thought that by taking the entire team and putting us at 80 to 90% preseason fitness levels, that we would be looking at something a little stronger. Shimwei giving me his sprint, not even hurting those guys behind him. Bari, Samuels, and Ansa. Bari got a good run. But he's not going to get a top 3. Samuels is going to overtake him before the end. Better sprinter, much better acceleration, but not enough to get there. And Ansa still approaching late, nowhere near Samuels even. That's bad from him, because where he was in relation to Samuels, as in should have been on his wheel, should have been able to overtake him with a much better sprint, and that would have put him in the top 10. But that's okay. We're not sprinters. Let's focus on the right kind of stage. Stage 3 is a sprint stage at just over 13 kilometers. Biniam Messias has already gone through the climb of the day, but you can see that it still finishes with a bit of an ascent here. He's not somebody that I've been controlling manually, but let's go ahead and give him a little push here right at the end. 9th place, 58 seconds down for him. Shimwei, meanwhile, though, has been cruising in 86 for the whole stage. After we get over the climb, we'll have to settle into an 85. Otherwise, he's going to go into that blink, but he holds it. So he'll be able to go this pace the rest of the way. He's 7th, 20 seconds down at the first time check. Bari is looking a little bit better off. However, he's not got pace like Shimwei, who takes 7th, 35 seconds. Well placed. There's only one climbing stage in this race, so really there's only the 2 stages that are going to matter. And Bari will push 86 as long as he can, and then go 85 the remainder, which he's at now. 28th for him, but he's not a good time trialist. We are doing really well so far, though, with our times. Dan Hool is on top, though. Awful draw for Molebron. That's going to make it a bad day for him, but we've got Samuels and Ansa coming up here shortly, and we'll focus on them. Samuels, best climber, but not a very good time trialist. So with that poor time trialing, I expect him to struggle a bit today. LeBron at the base of the final climb. At least he gets to the bridge before he, or the dam, before he backs off. This is the same place where the first stage was, by the way. We'd hit this climb and then turn left and go back down. So that was the ascent that we were seeing over and over again. Here, instead of going left, you turn right, and the finish line's like right there. Samuels in his 86, though, the climbing did not hurt, so he's able to push right onto the finish, maximize his effort, 43rd, but that's 252 down. That's going to really set him up poorly for the end. Ansa, I went a little too deep there. He's 230 down. No one puts in a great time, and that's going to really, really bring it down to an excellent one and only climbing stage. 3 more races coming in. Giro, we are in. Giro Adriatico, Giro d'Italia, we are in. So we do get both Grand Tours that we were seeking, and Sanremo. So far, perfect. 9 for 9, which is definitely not expected. I knew we'd get majority. I didn't think we'd get everything. Stage 5 of 7, this is that one mountain stage. It's medium mountain, the official classification, but it is mountaintop finish. So could set us up nicely, maybe. We are amongst the favorites. What I was talking about during that first stage that I was concerned over was how I took the entire team and put them on a preseason fitness level of 80 to 90%. I expected 3 weeks into the season when this race started that 80 to 90% would by that point be 85 to 92, 93%. That, we'd be a progressively higher. Not the case. Not the case at all. When we started this race, these guys were all in the low 80s still. All of them. We had one rider in the higher 80s, and that was it. Unexpected and rather costly. To make matters worse, as we only had 6 riders allowed here, is that we also just lost Molebron. So Arab out injured. Now Molebron injured as well, as he got injured in stage 4. Stage 3 was the time trial. This is stage 5. So stage 4 was the sprint stage. and we lost Mo LeBron to an injury there. So thanks to that, we are looking pretty iffy. Pretty iffy right now. Only a 2.7, 3.2. It's occasionally getting to climbing, occasionally still on the flat rating here. We're not well placed after the time trial. The one good thing, Samuel's got a +3 today, so he had a nice draw. Still doesn't set him up perfectly, though, because he had... to click on it manually. There you go. As we have 56K to go. We'll get water soon. He's at 85% fitness, so there is an offset. He does have a +5 to his stamina, but it's only, +2 to the mountain ratings. It's not what it could be. Definitely not complaining, though. It's good. It's very good from what it otherwise might be. Yeah, and it should help him today. But we're going to need significant gaps for him to move into the top 5, which is what we need overall. 25K to go. Let's now set these guys up to hold position. 21K. Get those mountain legs going. Bari and Ansa will gel early. We'll use it because the tempo's high. Breakaway's already been caught. We've got 16K to go still. It's only 4%. They're pushing hard because it's not steep. This is causing everyone to go awfully deep. 11K. Bari is getting dropped. He was protecting Samuel. So Benio Messias, take over. Bari, go ahead and go automatic. 71 riders. That's still a majority here. Ansa is going to be again dropping down to 68 riders. Not a big peloton to begin with, but it's definitely shrinking right now. And we've seen the attack of one rider going clear. Abner Gonzalez, he's already just second place overall. Not up to us to chase him. Winkler is. Now Scoins is. And Benio Messias is fading. Ansa is fading. So let's go ahead and put those two on automatic, and then let's go ahead and get a Shimway to gel up and to protect Samuels. 5K to go. Wow, this is going fast, this stage. Gonzalez is caught. Still 53 riders here, but we are looking soft, looking weak for the final 4K. And this is not looking like the kind of stage. This is the team leading the way, and this is one of their riders attacking. 3.9K. Shimway is actually better placed GC-wise than Samuels. So this is, again, not looking like what we need it to be here. Samuels. Just follow Ferguson. 1.4K, but he's got nothing in the tank. He's definitely not gaining time today. There's still 36 riders here. And 2 ahead of us. 400 meters. Sprinting. Not even going to get a podium, so no time gains. And no separation. Maybe there's going to be some time gaps because it's a climbing stage, a proper climbing stage, but we're only 6th. But little splits. There's a split right there. There is a definite split right there, but we're looking at 30 seconds is all to these guys. 45 to these guys. He'll move up the standings, but he's not... I don't think we're anywhere near top 5 in our first race of the season, folks. Nowhere near. Lots of gaps given, including the front 3 getting a little bit of a gap over the 10-second group. Shimway was 56 seconds down. Gaps all over the place. Will change the standings. It moves the Shimway into 12th. Top 10 would be a partial failure, but he is half a minute off of a top 10, so it's with only sprint stages to come. It's not happening. Samuels only moves up to 252. That climb was too gradual, too fast early on, but because it wasn't really a climb until the final kilometers, strange stage that didn't go our way. We didn't have a bad result, but we didn't have a good one either. So the first race is going to be a failure, but we've got a big set of races coming. What did I say? 9 of them? That's just the first. We're also going to start adding in those World Tour races, though, so there are bonuses to come. How are the riders going to handle it? So far, not good. We're a few days into the season. We've already got 2 riders down on injury. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.